Field of 68 After Dark.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Field of 68 After Dark, presented by our good friends over at BetMGM. It is an Overreaction Monday as well on this December 22nd, alongside former UNC great John Henson and Illini great Mike LaTulip. I'm Sam Ravech. We'll get into some of your comments, maybe talk some fans down from some complete panic as we're still just in December. But we've got a Christmas wish list as well for a couple of teams, what they'll be wishing for when Santa brings his butt down the chimney this year. But before we get to that, as teams across the country start to wrap up non-conference play, guys, and begin league play, there are very few opportunities out there to build a resume in the non-con, and one of which being the bragging rights tonight between Missouri and Illinois. Game just went final in St. Louis, and it was an absolute beatdown. Illinois 91, Missouri 48, the final. LaTulip grinning from ear to ear like the Grinch on Christmas Eve. So LaTulip will get you started here on this one. Look, it was good to see the physicality, I think, make a comeback in this game. You talked about it, I think, throughout the course of this week, how this game has maybe gone a little less physical in years past. But what do you make of your Illini tonight?
Well, first of all, there was a member of this media network that wanted me to come on here with a belt. I win with class. That's what I do. You did it for me over there, Henson.
Okay, I got you.
But look, like this Illinois team needed a big response, especially on the defensive end after that Nebraska game, and they got it tonight. I think this offense is elite. It's a top 2 offense now in America per Ken Palm. But for this team to compete for a Big Ten title, for this team to make it to Indy, that's the type of defensive effort, and that's the type of defensive attention to detail that they have to bring every single night. This is a Mizzou team that shot almost 80% around the rim, that got almost 40% of their shots around the rim, and they were completely shut off tonight. Illinois gapped them up. They jumped to the ball on off-ball screens. They covered for each other. They understood personnel. And then the thing that I loved the most was I've been a part of these games. It's, guys have their bags packed. They may be taken off from an airport in St. Louis to go back home, to see family, to celebrate Christmas. So to have that type of focus, especially in the second half when you had already built the lead, to finish that thing off the way they did, I thought was the most impressive thing of the night.
Thoughts, Henson?
Yeah, I agree. I was looking for them to respond. When you see all the Vucevic's and Stojakovic's, you don't necessarily, put that in line with toughness and grit. But I thought tonight was an impressive showing on the defensive end, what they were doing, how they were playing just with the ferociousness, a sense of urgency. I was listening to the broadcast. They're all kind of 5 guys from the Balkan countries or the Balkan boys, whatever you want to call them. So offensively, it's a thing of beauty. I love watching them play with the freshmen as well coming in. Tonight was what this Illinois team kind of peak level you could see them doing. I mean, they put a beat down on a Mizzou team that, they haven't played anybody, but Mizzou's going to win some games. They're going to beat some teams. So, the defensive kind of, attention to detail, as we said, and just ferociousness, blocking shots and a little bit of physicality. This is a team that's going to be a force to be reckoned with if they can play at this level throughout the season. We'll see if they continue, or is this a blip in the radar because they're kind of backs against the wall off a bad loss.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Henson, we have kind of seen a tale of 2 Illinois this year. You mentioned it, LaTulip. The defensive lapses have been a problem at times, but I mean, you go through it tonight. They went 15 for 33 from beyond the arc. That's good for 45%. Mirkovic may be a little bit quieter than usual, but was really solid on the defensive end. Ivisic had 14. Wagler was ridiculous with 22. He went 5 for 6 from beyond the arc. Stojakovic, with the ankle scare, it was good to see him come back too. I think that was a step in the right direction. Any time you can put up 91 points, LaTulip, and you have Boswell put up 6 points and kind of take a back seat in the game, that's got to be like, a step in the right direction. But what did you make of the overall team performance, and maybe touch a little bit on Wagler and what you saw from him tonight?
Yeah, it's strength in numbers for this team. And they touched on it on the broadcast. We've seen that throughout the year, especially offensively, just the balance that they have across the board. But I mean, Wagler has been phenomenal. And I went to practice in the fall, and you could see even then that he plays much older than he is. And the shift that Illinois made after the UConn game was to put Keaton Wagler on ball all the time. He triggers, 90% of what they do offensively. And that's changed things for them on that end, because to have a guy like him who's a freshman, under-recruited, I mean, 2 high major offers, one being Illinois, one being Minnesota, and to look like an all Big Ten player right now, since they gave him the full-time point guard duties, 24 assists, 7 turnovers, he's 16 of 30 from 3 since that UConn game. He's playing at an extremely high level. But to me, it's like there's plenty of guys in America that can score. There's plenty of guys in America that can set the table offensively. But it's all the other stuff. That's why this guy won 2 high school state championships. It's the 2 charges on the ball. It's the fouls that he draws, crashing the offensive glass. It's his ability to just his pursuit and his ability to track down those basketballs on the offensive glass. Like that, he is truly a complete player. And he's one of their best defenders as well. I think just like Jace Richardson last year for Michigan State, having a freshman come in like this who can perform at this level this consistently raises the ceiling for your team.
In a lot of ways, Illinois they've got like 3 point guards on this team. Like, you can throw Boswell out there. Wagler can handle the ball. Merkovich can run a half court set too. Henson, when you look at this Illinois team holistically and put them up against some of the best that we've seen in the Big Ten so far, whether it be a Michigan State, a Purdue, where do you rank them after now the non-con is pretty much done amongst those that we consider pretty elite in the conference?
They lost to Bama, they lost to UConn, Nebraska. They got some quality W's as well, but, some big-time games they kind of let slip away. And then you see coming up, they're at Iowa, they're at Purdue, they're at Nebraska, at USC, at Michigan State, and then they got Michigan at the house. So I think this is a team that can finish towards the top of the Big Ten. But, I mean, the schedule they have coming up, the gauntlet they have coming up in the next 2 months, I mean, if they can get out of that thing over 500, man, I think they'd be happy with that. But I do think this is a top-tier team in the Big Ten. But when you look at their path, man, it gets really tough. They have all their tough games on the road. So don't know if that'll help them win the league, but they will be towards the top of the league. I don't want to give a specific number, but that path they have in the next 2 months is going to tell us all we need to know about this Illinois team. And I've always been a fan. They look better on TV, and they look better to my eyes than they are on paper. I think KenPom has them, towards the top 10, if I'm not, but they're ranked the 20th.
They are now.
Yeah, it's weird, man. So I love the way they look from an eye perspective, from a hooper perspective. So I'm excited to see what they do.
I do want you to touch on the defense, LaTulip, but comment there maybe on if anything you saw tonight changed your opinion or fluctuated what you believe their ceiling could be in the Big Ten this year.
No, I mean, I believe they can compete at the top of the league. And look, and honestly, you need to have an elite trait to do that. And they have an elite offense. It was just whether or not this defense could turn a corner. And granted, I know this is a top 30 offense coming into this game, Missouri was, and they just completely shut their water off. And so it's not always going to be this type of result every night, but you can bring this level of focus and attention to detail to every game. And that's why, I mean, there's certain guys on this team that, whether it's Wagler or Mirkovic, 2 freshmen, Stojakovic, who hasn't been a part of a lot of winning in his career. And and honestly, like after the UConn game, they finally had their first week of practice where they had their whole team for the first time all season, even in the off season. So, and we talked about it after that game, Sam. So like to compete at the top of the Big Ten, and I've said this about Michigan State, I'll say the same thing about Michigan. It's not just about, hey, did you beat Michigan? Hey, did you beat Michigan State? Hey, did you beat Purdue? It's how you take care of the bottom of the league. And you take care of the bottom of the league when you bring that type of defensive floor to every game. So I look at their schedule. Like, their schedule is light to start the Big Ten. And to take this game and have that serve as a springboard, I mean, you got Southern on the 29th, who gave Washington a game earlier in the year, but you go Penn State on the road, home Rutgers, at Iowa, won't be an easy one. At Northwestern, never an easy one. But Minnesota, Maryland, like you have a chance for the first 3 weeks of January to get yourself off to a great start, create those winning habits that I think you've been building over the course of these first few months. And then you have that backloaded schedule that John alluded to, where you do get Michigan at home, but you go on the road to Mackey, you go on the road to Michigan State. It's the Big Ten, man. It's the Big Ten. Like you're gonna have to win some road games. They already have one of those under their belt against Ohio State, but protecting home court. Can you go 8-2 at home this year, knowing that you already lost one, dropped one in Nebraska? That's going to determine whether or not this team is sitting there towards the top of the Big Ten.
Yeah, and can you get consistent production with the bench too? Like you said, I mean, Hummerkaus with the 3 threes tonight. You had Ivisic had 11 boards. I think he led the team in rebounding tonight with 11 boards. He was stellar with 9
What they put in his
points.
water bottle today?
Honestly, like he's been to this point, and I know Tommy knocked down some threes tonight. Zvonimir's been the better Ivisic to this point in the season. I mean, Tommy had a really strong game against Tennessee, but just the luxury to have a guy who's 7'2" come off your bench, who can space the floor. He's a rim protector. I mean, he had 10 boards in the first half, in 10 minutes of playing time.
Right.
Like he's really, I mean, coming into this year, it was whether or not he could really condense his game and just focus on, like, I need to be a rim protector, limit the dumb mistakes, kind of play within myself. And he's been doing that. And then I love just the yin and yang that they have. Those two, the twins, they come in, they offer a little bit something different. Tommy a little bit more skilled facilitating, but they both can stretch the floor. Z's a better rim protector. It's a really good blend. I think you thought, hey, are they going to play together? That's probably not going to happen. But Z, like, this could end up being a real timeshare, 2020 split at the 5 spot, which is, I don't think something they anticipated coming into the season, but it's been a pretty welcome surprise.
Yeah, speaking of yin and yang, I mean, that's pretty much what we saw in this game. I mean, Missouri 48 points, certainly one of the worst offensive outputs since their injury-riddled season 2 years ago. But after admittedly that unacceptable season in Dennis Gates' second year in Columbia, he was able to cobble together a roster this past season and make it to the NCAA tournament. But I think expectations coming into this year may have been tempered, but they were certainly higher than they were going into last year. Now, towards the end of the non-con, you look at the resume, and the best win is a 23-point win over Minnesota. Respectable, but they left some on the table there. Got beat pretty bad by Kansas, I think. But this was the last tune-up, Henson, if you were to call it that, before they see the Florida Gators on January 3rd. Based on what we have seen from Missouri this year, how do you think they're going to fare in an SEC that, quote-unquote, is down?
It's going to be tough every night. SEC has the athletes. They have the players. I mean, I like to call a night like this is a bus all night. Like, I don't think many people are going to beat the Illinois on this type of night. I don't care. Duke, you name it. This was a bus all night. This is a flush the tape. Look, that's not us. Hopefully your best player is not hurt, because I think that affected them as well with things they were doing defensively, especially. And they'll be able to compete. They have the talent, and they got a kid coming in next year too from Tampa that he's really good, Tony. So I like what he's got there. It's going to be a tough season for them. They can score the ball. They've got size, but the SEC is one of those leagues where, man, you might have 4 or 5 games where you might lose 4 or 5 in a row if you don't get your shit together. And that's what they're going to have to be careful of, to start the season off the right way. They went winless a few years ago. Like, I always laugh. Coach Williams used to say, look, you can't win them all, but you can sure as hell lose them all. So I'm hoping that they have a better year this year. I like Dennis as a coach. We'll see what happens.
I don't know that they're going to lose them all this year, LaTulip, but look, I mean, you got to give credit to Illinois tonight and what they did, but there were some real concerning things that I think I saw tonight from Missouri. And maybe it was just like effort-wise, like that was a little bit concerning, especially in the second half. I know you're down, but man, like this is a rivalry game, isn't it? You played in this game. To put on that performance has got to be embarrassing. It's going to be a tough Christmas there in Missouri.
Yeah, well, first of all, John said that it was Roy that said you can't win them all. John, your teams genuinely could have won them all.
He said, listen, but you'd be like, the point was like, look, you guys think you could just walk on the court and win games? Like, no, we could lose all these things, but we're not going to win them all. So that kind of got you in the mindset, like, you know what? You're right. Like, we're not just going to walk in and win these games because, you know, you look up and now you're 1-4, 1-3 in ACC play because, you know, I don't know if you guys remember, like back in the day, Carolina would always drop like something early in the conference schedule we weren't supposed to drop for some reason, and I think he did it on purpose. Now that I'm looking back.
Well, to get back to just Missouri, I think, being a part of these games. I mean, my freshman year, both teams were top 12 nationally. It genuinely was one of the best atmospheres I've ever been a part of in my life. And that one came down to the wire. Phil Pressey kind of blew that thing open, and they ended up winning. The next year, we went on a floater with 30 seconds left, and the next year we went on a buzzer beater my junior year. And so that game had so much juice to it, and I still think it has juice. It's just with the amount of mobility from players today, there's not as much of that carryover where it's like, man, this dude hit me in the throat and got a flagrant last year. Now we're
Right.
back talking shit before the game.
Yeah.
There's not as much of that, which I think hurts rivalries all over America. But still, like, you got to know that this means something to your program. And so that was what was disappointing. I mean, not fully disappointing for me to see from Mizzou tonight, but if you are a Missouri fan, you're disappointed. Let's say that.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Like, rivalries don't mean nothing. Like, I'm thinking, like, like at NC State, we had to see them all summer for years and years. Like, it became like I don't like you for some odd reason. So that's a great point. They didn't play like it was a rivalry. I'll tell you that.
But look, and like players can come in and you can feel it. Like, you can say it's like going to the NCAA tournament. It's like you can think that if you haven't gone, that you would be, oh my God, I more than anything, I want to get there. But if you have gone, you probably want it even more to get back because you've experienced it. So it's just like, it's an interesting dynamic. And I think tactically for Mizzou, like, it doesn't get easier. I mean, they start off SEC play with Florida and Kentucky. So,
right.
You got, I think a couple things need to change if you're Missouri. Like last year, they switched a ton. They put 2 on the ball. Like, I'm not sure you have that group this year to put yourself at that type of disadvantage defensively. Like, Illinois was just come off the ball screen, you put 2 on the ball, throw it over the top, Mirkovic short roll, kick to the opposite side, threes, tee-ups. Like, you're playing with fire, especially in SEC play. Like, we can say, it's funny, we can say the SEC's down, but just recently with Florida coming on a little bit, with Kentucky coming on a little bit, you look on KenPom, and they're the highest rated conference. So it's just, it's not going to get any easier for Mizzou. And then you hope that Anthony Robinson, it's not too serious. Mark Mitchell looked like he had a back thing at the end of that game. So, man, that could go off the rails quick.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the Christmas break will give them some time to reset. But yeah, 6 for 22 from beyond the arc is not going to get it done for a team that Coach Dennis Gates said he wants to take at least 800 threes this year. So with that, we'll take our first break. When we come back, we've got some overreactions, maybe some proper reactions as well. We got someone chiming in saying Duke can no longer be trusted to win the title. I know Henson will be all over that one. Stick around. That'll be next on the other side of the break.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, Use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop.
Back here on the Field of 68 After Dark, presented by BetMGM. John Henson, Mike LaTulip, I am Sam Ravech. What would a Monday be without some overreactions? We got some good ones here tonight. You guys were you guys are on fire at the end of December here for our folks chiming in here. And we'll start with Kentucky. You kind of talked about it, LaTulip, as they're one of those teams that are starting to turn it around as they get a little bit healthy. Here is one: proper reaction or overreaction. Kentucky is a Final Four team with Jaden Quaintance and a healthy Jalen Lowe. Go ahead.
It's a bit of an overreaction, but only because I want to see more.
Yeah,
I want to see more. Like that St. John's game. You can overcome a lot when you play with great intentions. And they had 16 turnovers. They were 4 for 16 from three. And you can cover it up because you play with toughness and physicality. And your point guard goes out, and you're integrating a big piece in the front court. Like, to me, it's amazing what happens in this game of basketball when you're well intentioned. And I just watching that St. John's game, it was a similar halftime deficit to Louisville, but just the vibe was completely different because you're leaning on something you can bring to every single game, which is your toughness. And just seeing Jaden Quaintance. I'd compare the return of Quaintance to like having that one friend, if shit goes down at a bar, you guys are likely winning the fight. It's like they got after the ball. They were physical, bumping cutters. They gambled selectively, which I actually liked because they knew they got that dude back there. It changes the complexion of your team. And the thing with their Final Four outlook for me is like, can Jalen Lowe go the distance? I think that's the question. Like, that is truly the question. We've seen him go in and out of games, miss games. Can he, and his toughness was on display coming back into that game, but can he do it for 20 to 25 more games? That's what I think, even beyond Quaintance, like that's going to determine whether or not they're in Indy.
Not having a Quaintance, like not having a John Henson back there. I mean, I would take Henson with me into a backyard alley to win a brawl. But I mean, look, what do you make of Kentucky now that they are healthy-ish? Henson and their outlook of potentially making it to a Final Four.
Yeah, I was at that game. He took the heart and soul, aka Zuby Ejiofor, out of the game. I mean, he snatched it. He snatched him out of the game. Ejiofor didn't know what to do. He was throwing shit up, trying to just get stuff on the rim. He had Quaintance had 2 offensive rebounds that were dunks that changed the whole dynamic. The crowd got into it. Like, they had the home crowd advantage as well. Like, he changed the whole complexion of that game, especially inside that arena. The energy when he came in, it shifted. So I was on Kentucky before the season. I'm not getting off of them. I'm not going to backstep. I don't think that's an overreaction. Obviously, with health, as we spoke about, that's something that we have to be concerned about with Lowe. But a healthy Kentucky, I think, is a Final Four team. And I think even this year, there's going to be a team outside of the KenPom, maybe top 12 or 13 that gets into the Final Four. I think it's that type of year where I think the top 20 teams, the separation is not as much as it was last year, obviously. I think Kentucky has just as good a chance as anyone else kind of sitting around that top 15, 20 space in KenPom because there is no one dominant team. I mean, you got Arizona right now, right? That's the team that everyone's talking about. But I think there's going to be some fireworks in March, man. There's a lot of teams with not a lot of less separation.
Yeah, no doubt. For me, I think more importantly than how he played was actually how he felt after the game for Quaintance, right? I mean, he said everything was feeling good. The knee held up well. The Lowe injury to me is, unfortunately for Kentucky fans, all too similar. Like, you don't have to go very far back to remember Lamont Butler, who was just kind of in and out of the lineup with the shoulder last year. So like, um, uh, it seems like the health remains a concern for them, and it's like you're kind of treading on water there. But I can see it. Maybe not an overreaction, maybe a second weekend team. But we'll see going forward. Speaking of the Final Four, Duke Blue Devils, Final Four team last year, picked up their first loss of the season against an injury-riddled Texas Tech team at the Garden this past Saturday. 82-81 the final there. Duke led by 10 at the half, and then another second half collapse, which if you kind of go back to the last two losses for Duke, have come in second half collapses into the Final Four, and then here this year. But Henson, overreaction, proper reaction. Duke Blue Devils can no longer be trusted to win a title.
I think that's an overreaction, and that just goes back to my point. Like, Duke has just as good a chance right now as anyone to make it to at least the Final Four that last weekend. So, they're a young team. They're led by a young star. If we remember last year, Duke lost, and then that's when they kind of took off, right? Like, so this might be something that's good for them, learning experience early on before conference play, because I think the ACC is really strong right now, stronger than it's been in the past, and their ceiling is a little lower than last year's team. So there's less margin for error for them. So I think they can still have a chance to win the title. That's not necessarily a overreaction per se, but they do have some things they need to look at defensively and offensively. But I'm not off Duke, man. They're really good.
Let me change the question on you, LaTulip. Like, what were your expectations for this iteration of Duke coming into the year? Because I think that weighs heavily on how you would answer this question.
My expectations were high because I think so highly of John Shire, and that hasn't wavered at all. And I think to say they can't win a title now, to me, that's a slight overreaction. But there are things that I think Texas Tech exposed, and things that have been exposed as the season's gone on a little bit. Defensively, I think this is a very, very high-level team defense. But when you have teams like a Christian Anderson, some of these guys that can matchup hunt, that want to get switches and put some of these guys on an island, that's where it gets a little bit tricky for this Duke team. And then offensively, again, you saw just the extremes on both ends, I thought, from like Texas Tech had an easy button offensively. And right now for Duke, do they have an easy button? Because a lot of what they do flows through Boozer. There's a lot of action. And when you rely on a lot of action, then you bring in more variables, timing, personnel. Scouting now comes into play because there's certain actions that you can obviously sit there, watch on film. But when you have an easy button offensively where it's, hey, we can match up hunt with this guard, with a Christian Anderson, with a LeBaron Philon, that throws scouting out the window. Like, now you got to really mano-a-mano sit down. You got to guard. That's my question, because last year, like that Duke team last year, we play the results because they didn't win a national title. That was the most complete team I think I've seen in 25 years. Like they were that good, and the metrics back it up. But they had easy buttons beyond, like, Cooper Flag, middle third of the floor, sure, but like Con Knipple and Malawach two-man game, and the gravity that Malawach had as a roller, the gravity that John Henson had as a roller, like what that does, opening up things for guys around you. That's my question for them. That's not to say they can't win a title. It's just, they're going to have to evolve as teams scout more, as teams pick up on their actions more. And that's natural for any team, but they got the talent to do it for sure.
Go ahead, Anson. You got something?
No, I was just like in my head, like Cooper Flag just became the youngest kid to score 40 in the league. Conklin Nipples just hit the most, or was the quickest to 100 threes. They were on the same team.
Yeah. Tyrese Proctor started the other night.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like,
started for the Cavs. Like Malawai, he's on the Suns, but like he's another first round pick. Like, that's going to be fine. Like that. That's what I was thinking about. That's why I looked like that. I was like, how did they lose?
Deion James getting minutes for the Hornets.
Which he is getting minutes. Yep. So
it's a fun. It's a fun game to play because for the longest time, like my boys and I would always sit around and be like, I think UConn probably has the best. If you compile like their best college players on an NBA team, I think they would probably have like one of the best all NBA teams. Like this Duke team from last year, like them alone might be one of the better NBA all compiling teams when you put it all together. But yeah, Con Knippel's not walking through that door this year. Malawach is not walking through that door in Cameron Indoor. So they're going to have to find a second and third option who can maybe go get them 20. Last but certainly not least, is this an overreaction or a proper reaction? A team that is currently undefeated won't win the championship, Henson. Put another way, teams not named Arizona, Michigan, Iowa State, Vandy, or Nebraska will not win the title. So are you taking those 5 teams? You taking the field, basically?
I'm taking the field. You know, like I said, this is a year where the separation is not what it was. There are a lot of good teams. The undefeated teams are really good, but I mean, you saw. I mean, let's go back to Duke last year. Like, it's mind blowing us that they lost. Like, so if they can lose,
yeah,
any of these teams can lose. So, I stand on it. Like, I mean, you got St. John's, you got Iowa, Kentucky, you got Alabama in the back end of the 20s and high teens, like Kansas, Tennessee. These are teams in the back. These are teams in the 15 plus in KenPom. Like, I think this is going to be a crazy year, and that's for sure. I'm taking the field. Yeah, I'm going to take the field. Some really good teams out there.
But
see, this is what's hard because Michigan, Arizona, and Iowa State look like they're playing a different sport right now. I mean, you go on down the list. It's like Michigan goes to Vegas and outscores their opponents by 110. They have 5 40-point wins this year. If they get one more, it's a Big Ten record. It's freaking December 22nd.
Right.
Iowa State went into Mackey and won by 26 or whatever it was. Nobody does that. Arizona went into UConn. Like these 3 right now, it's hard to say it won't be one of those 3. But like you go back over the years, like you also can't overreact to a team losing in November or December. Like 2022, Kansas loses on a neutral to Dayton on November 26th. And UConn wins the title in 2024, runs everybody out of the gym in 2024, mind you, and they lost Seton Hall by like 15 in December.
Right.
So it's just like I can talk out of both sides of my mouth right now with how good those top 3 have been, but just we've seen over the years, and it's pretty split. You go back the last 10 to 15 years, and it's kind of half and half. Some national champions have 1 or 2 losses right now. Some were undefeated at this point. Some of that comes down to schedule. And the thing for these 3 teams, Michigan, Arizona, and Iowa State, it hasn't been a light schedule. Like Florida was 12-0 last year, and they hadn't really played anybody outside of North Carolina on a neutral. But at that point, I don't think we saw Florida being the team that they could become. So I wouldn't write off some of these teams that have dropped a few games at this point.
And how good is Arizona to me? I mean, if you don't have some nuts and some bigs, you're going to lose. I don't care. I don't care. I don't. If you don't have some bigs that can bang with those boys down there and some guard play and some grittiness, Arizona's going to run you back home. So that's a good point, man. Those undefeated teams do look like they are on a different level.
No, Burries adds a whole different complexion of that team when he's playing like he has been recently. But I mean, look, I think it's a proper reaction. This isn't a knock on the undefeateds, but I just think there's a lot of good one-loss teams out there. You mentioned the Arizona win over UConn, LaTulip, but UConn didn't have Terrace Reed or Braylon Mullins in that game. Houston, 3-point loss to Tennessee in Vegas. Take that for what it's worth. Gonzaga has beaten the crap out of everybody since they took a dose of their own medicine when they got beat to a pulp by Michigan. So, again, it's too early. So I'm going to go maybe a little bit of overreaction there. But yeah, I would not be surprised in the slightest if either Arizona, Michigan, or Iowa State took home the national championship there this year. We're going to take one final break. Coming up, we have got a couple of teams that have jotted down some things that is on their wish list for Santa. What are Henson's Tar Heels asking Santa for this Christmas? We've got 5 teams to get through. That's on the other side.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
All right, back here on the Field of 68 After Dark, presented by BetMGM. Only 3 nights before Santa squeezes a big butt down the chimney and put presents under the tree. We have got 5 college basketball teams that have written letters to Santa asking for something. But what that something is going to be up to John Henson and Mike LaTulip. So let's start with a team that maybe should be more thankful for what they have than anything else. That'll be TJ Otzelberger's Iowa State Cyclones. LaTulip, what is on the wish list for an undefeated Iowa State team this year?
Well, it's got to be, and this could be true for every team, but particularly Iowa State, given the way things ended last year, good health. Like this, the revolving door of injuries, particularly in the backcourt, that really derailed the end of their season last year. Other than that, I think it's all there for Iowa State. The other thing I'll mention is, however you can keep Momcilovic shooting like he's a cyborg, just train him to say like, hey, there's no such thing as water finding its level. There's no such thing as regression to the mean. Momcilovic maintaining cyborg status would be on the Christmas list.
Very, very good, Henson.
I am going to agree. I had health as something on their list. For some reason, I always are banged up towards the end of the season. I always question what kind of practices are they having? Are they going at it too hard? Where's the walk-on guys for you to run your sets through, right? Like we don't need to be banging mid-season. So I would say if we could wrap health up in a bow, I think we all agree and put it under their tree. That's what we would give them for Christmas, because if they have that, they look formidable.
Yeah, I mean, you remember Lipsy, Momcilovic, they were down for, I think they were out together too. So along with the health, I might even add some depth, although I would say their depth has increased and been a lot more consistent going into this year than it has even in years past. So even with a maybe unhealthy stretch for one of their big 3 that return this year, they can maybe maintain a certain level of consistency throughout what, maybe is going to be a really crowded top of the Big 12 conference. We move along to St. John's, who has had some serious turbulence to start this year, Henson. So what is Rick Pitino wishing for this Christmas? It's got to be a point guard, right? I mean, they don't have anyone running the point right now.
By the way, one of the more awkward moments, Ian Jackson walking in the tunnel past Carolina after the loss. It's real awkward. Nobody said anything, so I don't know what's going on over there. But, I'm going to wrap up some three-point shooting. They're 156 in the country percentage. Okay. Their metrics are pretty bad. I don't know if we need to put a Dr. Dish under the tree as well with that as well to get them, get some shots up. I don't know if Coach Pitino needs to, hey, look, I need to go into the portal and get some shooting. But we need to shoot it better. That opens up everything for them. They can't shoot it. They tried to force it into Ejiofor against Kentucky. Quaidon's put the locks on that. They were in shambles. They lost. So a simple fix. We can get some three-point shooting put under their tree. They can grab it. If they can get the top 75 in the country in three-point shooting, the outlook for them looks a lot brighter.
So if you look in the St. John's practice facility, on one end is going to be the Dr. Dish, and on the other end is going to be one of those lids that you put on the top of the rim for rebounding drills. Where you can just take shots and just flies off the rim, because right now, like, their ability or their inability to close out defensive possessions right now, like, their first shot defense isn't bad, but that inability to finish possessions, I think will ultimately do them in. I don't think they're getting enough rebounding from the guard spots. Ejiofor is 7 boards a game. Hopkins, I think 4. But you can see, like, they're wrestling down there. And a lot of times we blame the bigs. Henson, I'll stick up for you. We blame the bigs for a lack of rebounding, but the bigs are the ones wrestling down there, boxing out. Those are the guys that have to put bodies on somebody. So that would be one. And then the other little one that I'll throw in there is, like, they just, because of the lack of point guard play, they've become very predictable offensively. Like, if you have a front court that can slide their feet, when we saw it with Quaintance, if you have a front court that can slide their feet and guys that can get in gaps, like Ejiofor, Hopkins, these guys that want to attack in that middle third of the floor get neutralized pretty quickly.
Real quick trivia here.
Gang rebounding.
Yeah.
Gang rebound.
Real quick trivia. Who leads St. John's in assists per game right now? You guys know?
Caleb Mitchell.
It's probably Hopkins.
Zuby Ejiofor leads St. John's in assists per game. Ejiofor is averaging 2.5 assists per game, and that's it. He's leading the team. I mean, he's a great passer, but, like, that's not really supposed to be his primary responsibility. So I'll go with the point guard there. Although, based on what we saw, and Henson, I know you were there, like, Pitino's post-game press conference didn't make it seem like that was right around the corner. Like it was a pretty dour post-game presser there. It didn't seem overly optimistic. By the way, is RJ is RJ Lewis's phone still work? Because, I mean, like, what happened there, right? I mean, he would have been. That's who they're missing. They're missing an RJ Lewis.
What happened there was the Arkansas game.
Yeah, that's shaky stuff. By the way, we just saw the annual ugly Christmas sweater game between Michigan State and Oakland. If you did not see Greg Kampe and Tom Izzo's, Christmas sweaters, please go look it up. They were all-time legendary in that game. But Sparty is another one of those teams that might have a shorter wish list, but everybody could use something this time of year, especially the holiday season, LaTulip. So what is Tom Izzo wishing for this holiday season?
It's got to be consistent play from that second guard / wing spot. They've kind of done it by committee to this point. Tang had the big game against Kentucky. Fort was good against Kentucky. Ogachukwu on the road against Penn State. But to play for Tom Izzo, it's not just scoring the basketball. Whoever emerges as the most trustworthy defender and rebounder is going to see time. And that's why Jordan Scott, the freshman's been stealing minutes. He's got great feel for his age, especially defensively, decent positional size. But also, like, maybe on the Christmas list for Michigan State is, like, somebody gives Tom Izzo shit for, not going into the portal, right? That seems to just, like, reinvigorate him and has sparked this, like, insane 2-year run. He's always been great for 30 years, but particularly in the last 2 years, what he's been able to do while everybody else doubted his methods, maybe somebody's got to tell him he's wrong again, and, that'll spark another run.
Henson?
This was tough because I don't think we thought that Michigan State was going to be a perennial top 10 team, 11-1 with some big time wins. I don't think anyone saw that coming. So it was tough for me. If I could wrap something up, I would say, can I wrap up some momentum, keep it rolling, so they can keep this thing rolling? I think that they've had a really good year early on, but we've seen this story before, not just with Michigan State, so it's anybody, right? You start off a little hot, and then you kind of, teeter off. So if I could give Michigan State some, I give them some momentum to keep it going into the new year, because this Big Ten schedule is going to be tough, and we'll see if they really are who they say they are on paper, and how they look.
Man, Pitino maybe you can make a call to Izzo, see if they can do a in-season trade for Jeremy Fears Jr., because he would love that. I'll go 3-point shooting for Michigan State over the last few. That's never been their identity, but they rank 251st in the country. They're hitting like 7 threes a game. But for context, their interstate counterpart, Michigan, is hitting over 11 threes per game. Different styles, obviously, but I think, it didn't really hinder them on their run to a regular season Big Ten title last year. But if they want to win a national championship, like the first one since 2000, then I think they're going to have to get that number up from 7 to maybe 9 or 10. But yeah, I like the good vibes, Henson, just wrapping up some good vibes, sending that over to Michigan State. All right, we have got Illinois and we've got UNC, and nobody better to ask what to wrap and put under the tree than these two. So LaTulip, fighting LaTulips, haven't had a ton of issues this year. Knocking down threes hasn't been one of them. You mentioned the offense, the defense area of concern. We've talked about that tonight. Went a long way to maybe solving some of those issues. But what is on the Illini's wish list this holiday season?
I think you bottle up the focus, the attention to detail, how locked in they were to the scout, how active they were, the toughness tonight. You bottle all that up and you carry it on with you into the new year. That's got to be on Illinois' Christmas list, because the team we just talked about, Michigan State, it's the reason why I think they're going to compete in the Big Ten, is because when they go like they did on the road to Happy Valley, Penn State, when you play these games that you're expected to win, your defense and your rebounding has to travel. Like that has to travel, and that is of the utmost importance for Illinois, because if we know what they can do offensively, but on the nights where maybe shots don't fall or things go awry with ball security, having that defense and rebounding you can bring to every single game. That's what the Illini have to do. That's got to be at the top of their list on their wishes for the new year and Christmas, I guess.
That's right. Henson, thoughts on Illinois before we get to your heels?
I would say, if they could wake up on Christmas morning and open up something, it would be quality W's in 2026. Let's get some quality wins. They've got a lot of opportunities on the road to get some quality wins. That's what, if I could gift them something into the new year, let's go with the quality wins coming down the stretch in the Big Ten play.
Yeah, I'd say depth. We talked about, some of their players they've been getting consistency from. Ivisic, one of those guys. So a healthy and productive Ivisic, or Ivisiches maybe. Healthy and productive Ivisiches for Illinois going into the new year would be pretty good. But Henson, nobody knows the Heels like you do. Off to their best start since that memorable 2009 national championship season. Hubert Davis, I think, coaching himself off the hot seat this season. But what is on the wish list right now in Chapel Hill?
I am going to go with, we've got to figure out, I don't even know how to put this in a gift, just depth behind Visar. Just depth behind Visar. I mean, we're so good when he's on the court. We're so bad when he's down the court. And that's scary because, slipping my mind, big fella from Arizona, coming off the bench that rebounds everything.
Owaka.
Toby Owaka, yeah.
Toby. I cannot imagine him coming and playing Carolina and the depth we have at the big spot. Now, we're able to get away with Jaren Stevenson in some scenarios, but we're not going to be able to get away with it every night. So if I could wrap up some center help for Henry Visar so he can take some time to sit down and relax, and we don't have to throw him back in, or even with foul trouble. That's how we lost the Michigan State game. He got in foul trouble. We didn't have the size, and those big boys down there ate us alive. So backup big depth would be my gift to give Carolina, because it doesn't seem like much, but when it becomes time to winning time and, time to go get these big time wins in the tournament, I think that will be our Achilles heel.
Real quick, Henson, though, did you expect this North Carolina front court to be as productive as it has been this year? I mean, that's been the biggest strength of their team right now.
It's insane. I mean, they're setting records like, I think Doug Moe and somebody else, like they're Marvin Williams and Sean May, they're breaking those type of records with their scoring. I don't think I think we were excited, but we did not expect this front court to come to fruition like it has. And that's what we're known for as a big man. That's why I chose the school. So it's good to see kind of some of that being infused back into the program. Now we're paying them a lot of money now, so don't. It's not like, oh my God, it's such a revelation. Like they're getting lot. So I'm glad it's panning out, and it's worth the NIL deals that they got.
Yeah, because we have seen many of those expensive NIL deals go not according to plan. But LaTulip, anything for
They paid them
UNC
to
that
be
will
doing
be?
this. They paid them to
Yes,
do
they
this.
did. They certainly did. Go ahead, LaTulip.
All I'm hearing is John Henson shadow GM. That's all I'm hearing. But look,
pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Henson, if you remember, Henry Vasar committed to North Carolina while we were down in San Antonio doing the live show, and our dear friend Rob Douster clowned me for how excited I was about that pickup. So it's great to see that come to fruition. It's good to be on the right side of history. But my I got to do the imagery that Henson does here. Like, you're sitting there, you're wrapping it up, but the gift that I'll
thinking about it.
Yeah, I know, I love it. What I'll say, I'll wrap up. I'll call it. I'll use the acronym a TCOB January, a Take Care of Business January, because I think North Carolina is in contention in the ACC. And contention to win the ACC regular season. And part of that is going to be how they handle January. You got Florida State, SMU, Wake Forest, Stanford, Cal, Notre Dame. You got Virginia, obviously, on the 24th, but you have a chance in January to really set yourself up for a solid February, March. Do your work early and do really what Clemson did last year, which was, they did, and Louisville to a degree. Like, the conference is different this year, but they did their work early and set themselves up for February and March to at least be in contention there at the end. Nobody was catching Duke, but they hung around, and so that's what I would, I guess, bottle up for them, because we know, like, building those winning habits as a unit, with how backloaded this schedule is, you can be clicking on all cylinders and playing your best basketball when those big games roll around.
The ACC certainly is better. I think when people think of that, though, they think of like the top part of the league. Like, SMU is a pretty good basketball team this year. Cal is not going to be like a just run through kind of game in the ACC this year. And Virginia, I'm not going to call them like a bottom feeder of the ACC, but they have been certainly down the last couple of years. And that's actually who I'm going to toast to tonight. So, before we do get to the toast, though, Henson, real quick thought on UNC and what kind of LaTulip said there about their overall outlook on on the conference this year, which is more improved.
Yeah, I think they're in the contention to win it. When I was playing, it was like, look, somehow, some way, it's gonna come down to us and Duke. We'll probably drop one or two. Duke's gonna drop. My last 2 years, we played Duke for all the marbles last game. So I have a feeling it's going to come down to something like that, similar, where it's going to got to beat Duke to take it home, or vice versa. Duke's got to beat us to take it home. So this team is playing better than I had high expectations, but 11-1, top 10 in the AP, coming in the ACC play. I don't think you could have asked for anything better. There was a lot of nervous people around Chapel Hill. There's a lot of turnover in the front office, and there's a new AD. You got Bill Belichick, hiring guys that, ride on motorcycles with people. And, like, it's a lot going on that campus. So it's good that there is some sort of stability within the program right now. We're winning games, because can you imagine the Belichick drama and Carolina basketball is not playing well? Like, the old well would burn down. It burned. So I'm happy for the Hills. I'm happy for Coach Davis. Happy for that staff, man. They grinded it out this summer, and they got some big time players out of the portal, and especially with Caleb Wilson, they've got a top 5 draft pick. Kudos to them.
Yeah, no doubt. And in some ways, I think Caleb Wilson has actually turned out in some people's eyes to be better, if that's even possible, than they might have thought his first year might go in college. He's been great, but it's like teetering on otherworldly how good he's been this year, especially the last couple of weeks.
I didn't see 20 and 10. I just didn't see that. So
yeah,
I continue to be impressed with him, man. He's I think he has the highest ceiling of any of the draft picks. May not be the best guy, go number 1 or 2, but if you push all those guys to their full potential, he could be the best guy in this draft class.
It's weird. The other guy that said that was Justin Jackson. Huh.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even know that. Listen, he might go to OKC. Like, think about that for a second, because Clippers are 6-2.
I mean,
like, think
I don't
about
wanna
that.
think
OKC's
about
going to get one of those guys. They're going to get one of those guys. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So,
which is scary. Yeah, that would be really scary. All right, let's get to our toast tonight. Before we do that, folks who are still with us and watching on the wonderful YouTube app, please hit us in the comments. We will do a short afters here before we jet out and break for the holiday season. Anybody got toasts for the night tonight off the top of their head?
I was going to toast Henry Visar. He's averaging 16 and 10 on 66% from the floor, 45 from three. Like, toast to him. Happy holidays. I'm gonna toast with this frappuccino because I have a holiday party.
I was like, "What's going on there? What we got there?"
Yeah, Henson.
I got
caffeine. It's late.
I gotta get the juices roll. I gotta get the juices rolling. I got a holiday party I'm headed to, so that's what I'm toasting right now.
Where are you at?
When's
the holiday party start?
It's started at 11. I'm waiting.
It starts when Henson. The holiday party starts when Henson arrives. That's when the holiday party starts.
It's a great.
It's a holiday party for like a restaurant kind of lounge. So it's a late start. This isn't the family. This ain't the family Halloween party. Tell you that. This is
not corporate.
It's not corporate. There's going to be things going on. People walking around that look pretty good. Lots of nice dresses and stuff like that. It's eggnog, coquito. We call it. Here we do coquito here. So if you guys were around, I'd invite you. Honestly, but
Well, we're all really happy for you, Henson.
Yes,
it sounds like
it sounds great.
It sounds like it's going to be a great night. Since you kept it Carolina, I'll keep it. I'll keep it Illinois. I'm going to toast Andrei Stojakovic's ankle. I don't know. I went from thinking he was down for 2 months to just seeing him dunk on somebody in the second half. So I'm going to go ahead and just the stability of Stojakovic's ankle.
Cheers. Yeah, that was scary, man. That dunk was like 9 minutes. 9 minutes left to go in the second half. After he did that, I'm like, all right, he's probably good. I think he's all right. That was ridiculous.
It's kind of a LeBron when LeBron hurt his ankle, and then he comes back and he dunks down the lane. Like, I was just, hold on, what's going on? Shout out to
I teased about. I'm toasting the Virginia Cavaliers. First-year head coach Ryan Odom. They got another win tonight, albeit against much lesser competition. But I think this is one of the better stories of the college basketball season that really hasn't been fully told yet. For those who don't know, Ryan Odom used to ride his bicycle to practices at the old University Hall in Charlottesville. And he was the ball boy for home games there for UVA. And now, the head coach, and not only is he head coach, but he's turned this thing around in the first season. And he's got the Hoos off to like their best start in a decade. So he's also got a guy named Testa Ritter. If you don't know the name, you should probably get to know it. Career high 27 points tonight. He's the first Virginia freshman with 25 points and over a 70% field goal percentage in a game in the last 20 years. So he's leading the way for this Hoos team. He's also the fourth ACC freshman with 25, 70% from the field, 0 turnovers in the last 20 seasons. Joining guys like Justin Champagny, Zion Williamson, and TJ Warren. So that's pretty good company to be in for Tess and the Virginia Cavaliers. So go ahead.
I'll say, Sam, this is why you tune into this network. And it's not just during the college basketball season. Go check out our off-season grades in the off-season. And I want to shout out Rob Douster here because he and I did the Virginia Cavaliers off-season grades and preview. Just saying. There were a couple people saw this coming.
Go take a peek. Yeah. LaTulip, by the way, you've been flexing a little bit tonight. You've been saying you were right about Testa Ritter. You were right about what else did you say? You were the transfer Henry Visar. You were yeah.
LaTulip knows ball. He knows ball. Come on, man.
I'll only gloat if I feel like and it's not from you two, but if I people are coming at me, I got receipts. It's okay.
Hey, that's all right. He's just letting the people know. Yeah, he's just letting the people know. All right,
let's get
we'll take a quick break. Yeah, that's right. That'll be important tonight. We'll step aside for a short break here. We got the afters on the other side of the break before Henson gets to the party.
These are the burning shades I had for.
That was like taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die gotta be one of the black guys. We're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
All right, we are in the afters. We just saw Jeff Goodman sliding on a basketball court. Maybe Henson will do that at the party tonight. What do we got? What do we got in the afters, Dagan?
Hello, gentlemen. We'll keep this quick tonight. We'll get off to an early start for our Christmas break. My first question is North Carolina, which you kind of talked about a little bit already, Kansas, BYU, and I'll throw Virginia in there for you guys. All obviously took care of business against teams they should have. Who are you buying the most of that group? Kansas, North Carolina, Virginia, BYU.
I'm going to buy Virginia because the value is lowest. Are we talking investments? What are we talking? Is that how we're talking? Yeah, I'm going to go Virginia.
Stocks
I think
low,
they have
yeah.
the most. Yeah, I think my return could be the highest on them. North Carolina, I think, is at peak value right now. At least that's what Ken Pom says. They're a 20 to 30s team on the website, top 10 in the country on the poll. So yeah, let me go Virginia if I got to take a team right now.
All right, Henson takes the Who's. What do you got with Tulip?
I was gonna say the Who's, but I'll zag. You know what? I'll say Kansas. I feel like people are, because of the Darren Peterson thing, people are really writing them off as a team that it's like, well, if you don't have Darren Peterson, then pack it in. I think that's a team even without Darren Peterson that can reach a second weekend. I really do. I think they're tough. I mean, Melvin Council, it's not going to be 9 threes or 10 threes or whatever it was that night, but he picks you up 94 feet. They have an edge to them that team did not have last year. And so they win the margins a little bit better. I like this Kansas team, with or without Darren Peterson.
I'll zig with you there, LaTulip, too, because I mean we saw it happen. We saw it in Vegas. Like I thought that was Bill Self's maybe best coaching that he's done in a little while, and they also have something that nobody else does, which is Bill Self on a lifetime contract. So I think Kansas really doesn't have much of a better option to turn it around and get things going in the right direction this year. So, all right, we'll move it along. What's the last one there?
What does it say? Lifetime? Like,
it says lifetime.
Doesn't Rick Barnes have one too?
Yeah, to be honest with you, Henson, I've never been given a lifetime contract, nor have I signed one. So once I do that, I'll let you know.
I'm gonna ask.
See if Jeff and Rob will throw any lifetime contracts out for you.
Yeah, right.
All right, fellas. Next one, another ranked team in action today. I feel like maybe we're not talking enough about is Georgia. Obviously, they played West Georgia today. Not a crazy game, but they're 24th in Ken Pom. Played very fast, third in tempo. What are your thoughts on the Bulldogs? Are we buying what Mike White is selling in Athens?
By the way, Vanderbilt, Georgia, I mean, two teams that were picked probably towards the bottom of the SEC this year have been two of the more impressive teams in this conference, albeit having played significantly less competition than some of the top in the league. But go ahead, Henson. You buying Mike White's squad there in Athens?
I haven't got a good look at them, so I'm gonna be honest. I haven't got a really good look at them. I do know they were 35.
By the way, you're not alone. You're not alone there,
Yeah.
Henson. They haven't really been on national TV much this year yet, so you're not alone.
And they didn't cover the 35.5 today, which I thought was a nice play because Georgia's really good. So I'm gonna step back and say I'm gonna have to just wait and see. But I will say, good teams win, great teams cover. So I'm a little iffy on them.
They should have beaten Clemson, by the way. That overtime game, they should have won.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is tough for Georgia because there's been a couple SEC teams that have come on. And so somebody is going to finish, 9-9 in the SEC, between Vanderbilt and Kentucky and floor. Like, it's just, you have all these different teams. And I think if there were to be a team that maybe, I don't want to say is fooling us, but you've played two teams in the top 100 in KenPom to this point. One of them is Cincinnati, who may not have their coach after the season. So,
God.
Yeah. So that's what I see with Georgia. But they've obliterated teams in the paint. Wilkinson's been awesome. I feel a little bit better about Vandy compared to Georgia, but it's the same type of thing. It's like I'm in wait and see mode until they play. You know, they got Auburn and Florida to start off SEC play, so I think we'll know more at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we saw they also have in the month of January, they have Ole Miss. We saw them get just obliterated in Greensboro the other night. They got Missouri, who we just saw, not show up tonight. So, it's a managed. They got Texas too, has been a little bit underwhelming this year. So, like the opportunities, I think, are there for Georgia to come out in January, even maybe a little bit ahead of where folks might have expected.
Are we saying that Georgia's potential fool's gold pick of the week? Is that what we're saying right now?
Just saying, somebody is. It's the Oklahoma. I'm going to name it the Oklahoma midseason award.
Yes.
Because it's been the last two seasons. It's been Oklahoma.
Cincy last year was like that. Cincy started off and just.
Let's just bookmark that, and then bookmark that. LaTulip will be right back here at the end of February saying that he was right, that Georgia was right to be in 9-9.
Field of 68 Fool's Gold Award. We should start it. The Field of 68 Mid-Season Fool's Gold Award. Candidate Georgia.
I like that.
Bookmark
Maybe
that.
just the mid-season mid award. Who's the middiest of teams at the midway point of the season?
Who's the middiest of the mids? I like that.
All right. That'll do it for us. Fellas, it was a pleasure. First and foremost, wish you and your families happy and healthy New Year's. All of our
Sam,
listeners as well, viewers that have been with us. Yeah, what do we got?
Or for your outro. Excuse me. Next show is Christmas Eve, 7 o'clock, for all that would like to watch.
Beautiful. Christmas Eve, 7 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. I'll be certainly having some more Christmas discussions for that one. But yeah, happy healthy to everyone. Mike LaTulip, John Henson, our entire crew. I'm Sam Ravech saying so long. We'll see you when we see you.